Great.
So hello to you all. Here's another vid course that we are doing, this time on Mozilla Firefox vulnerabilities. So Mozilla Firefox, for those of you who don't know, is an open source internet web browser. For a long time, it was the only alternative to Internet Explorer. So joining me today is Ronnie Reddy, the current president of a Linux user group of Mauritius, and Patrick, who works in an ISP in Mauritius. So can you first start by introducing yourself, please?
Well, not much to introduce on my side. Just here to assist whatever can be done in terms of my experience in the internet field. That's all. I mean, I don't. I'm no one that needs to be broadcast out there.
Okay, so for me, well, I'm Ronnie, and most probably a lot of Lugem members do know me already. But, I think a short brief. I learned Linux from Ajay Ramjatan, and since then I left the Microsoft world over the outside. And actually, I'm working for Redbox Digital, an e-commerce developers company. And I'm leaving them on Wednesday next. And we are launching Ocean DBA with a good friend, Geoffrey Micae, from France, living in Barcelona, Spain. It will be a company mainly based on the MySQL, MariaDB, Percona, Galera stuff, but also doing sysadmin stuff. And that's it.
Okay, so for those who are unaware of the latest vulnerabilities, I'm just going to share my screen and show to people the latest vulnerabilities that were disclosed and fixed. So can you all see it?
Yeah.
So we have the red ones are the most critical, and there's one that caught my attention. It's the use of the free when manipulating HTML content. And when you look at this,
Just one thing, Logan.
yes,
This we are talking about the browser now.
yes,
So it's client side, so which means that it affects every user.
yes, correct.
So which means that, for example, sysadmins can't do anything about it.
That's correct. Well, for example, a sysadmin who is taking care of the internal network of his company. So he has to set up policies in place so that when the developers or the managers are surfing the web at their personal laptop are as secure as possible, I think.
What about endpoint protection schemes that could be set up to manage all the clients?
Yep, that's definitely because when you're in an enterprise, you're looking a scalable way of managing client-side security. So having something that could trigger updates of Firefox on the end client side, or for example, blocking access from an internal company network to the internet for clients that have outdated web browser would be an interesting idea, according to me. I don't know what you guys think about this.
Yeah, that sounds doable. Even if there are many other ways to mitigate that.
Okay. Ronnie, what about you? What do you think?
No, it's just I was mainly concerned about the admin side of things
Mhm.
because I take care of when we talk about sysadmins, we usually end up in having an issue regarding whether the sysadmin takes care of servers or takes care of internal client machine. For me personally, I don't care about what you have on your computer, but I take care of servers, and that's it. You can't do both at the same time. So really, for me, it's up to the user to take care of it.
Okay. In other companies,
I
but
guess it's
I've
depending
watched.
on the environment. If
Yes,
the
correct.
users are on their own, then you're on your you're on your own. But if you have an enterprise to run, and if that endpoint is a vulnerability, then I don't see the purpose of taking care of your server, because I mean I could easily use that endpoint and attack your server.
Yeah, you're right. It's just that in the environment I work on, I take care only of servers. I don't manage users inside the company.
From my personal experience, the first company I was working on, we had two sysadmin. One was taking care of the internal company network, so things like updating Firefox, updating Windows on end user machine, and I was taking care of servers only. So I guess, as Patrick said, that depends on the company's environment and internal policies. Some care, some don't care. But I think with things like ISACA, PCI, DSS compliance, I think that more companies in Mauritius will need to start to think about endpoint security, particularly on the client side.
I,
And
I, I have a
also,
point. I have a point that I would like to share with you there, Logan. You just said two things. You said companies in Mauritius. I think we should stop thinking about companies in Mauritius. I mean, when we talk about the internet, when we talk about being connected, as long as you're connected to the outside world, I mean, there's no longer barriers, frontiers, or countries. I mean, it's a whole world out there. You're part of the same scheme, you're part of the same blog, you're part of the same matrix. I mean, there's no reason to just think about a company in Mauritius if that company is doing business with the outside world, which they should be, and if that company is even connected to the internet via a simple ADSL line. I mean, you are part of the network, of the global network. So, the scheme has to be in a certain way the same for everyone.
yes.
Yeah, totally right, Patrick.
Okay, so I'm just going to share my.
Then comes the question: all the Mauritian companies, directors, managers, IT directors, or whatever, are they aware of this? That once their computer, even their own computer, is connected to the network, are they aware that they are in the web? And
Well, I think some are. Some are. Let's not underestimate the power of the force there. Some are.
that's
But
nice. Power of force.
yeah. No, some are. Fortunately for us, some are. Some are stubborn and don't want to see, truth in front of them. Some are, coming back to you with the. I'm talking about my experience with the enterprise world, which I fortunately face every day. I was tempted to say unfortunately, but that would not be a good a good way of presenting things. But some are going to present to you the budget first and say, okay, well, we don't have the budget to do that. It's not, we are trying to make do with what we have. But I think this is where I think sessions like this could be helpful to try to spread the word. I mean, I think it's our job to spread the word. Staying put, it's not going to help.
Just one in between the topic, we have Infotech coming soon. Do you think that the National Computer Board will talk about vulnerabilities of versions of be it Internet Explorer vulnerabilities, be it Firefox, be it Chrome, any web browser? We won't even talk about it.
I don't think Infotech was ever made for those type of.
The Infotech is made to have nice girls at MTEL stand and selling computers, earphones, and things like that. This is my personal opinion.
Well, I've stopped going to Infotech, sometime. I mean, I don't see the purpose of going to Infotech if I'm going to see, just smartphones there or supposedly gadgets or accessories. The whole purpose of Infotech has to be redefined, in my opinion, and this is what was supposedly trying to be achieved in pushing forward some other parallel form of show there, but it never worked. I mean, it's just a matter of making money, and that's it.
Yeah, for me also, it's like 10 years I've not been there. Even I miss the MTEL girls, okay.
Well, there are alternatives now. I mean, Intel doesn't have the priority on that anymore.
Yeah. Anyway, Logan, let's continue
Back to
with
serious things here.
Okay, let me share my screen so that viewers can see.
Now, I've got a question for you, Logan. What, from your experience in detecting vulnerabilities, could you describe to me as a layman what these vulnerabilities could bring, in terms of bad luck, if I were to put it that way?
Okay.
If I were using Firefox by, let's say, connecting to the bank, doing a bank transaction, or connecting to a secure site to do whatever.
So okay, so there are like 3 critical vulnerabilities, but they're publicly disclosed, and there are a few others, but they classify as less important. So in layman terms, what it means, and when I'll analyze those vulnerabilities, it means that someone, for example, by crafting specific codes on the website, or for example, he could through an advertisement, an advert website which is displayed on the bank's website, he could potentially take control of your computer as a user through Firefox.
Could he, for example, and again, I'm just playing the guy. I mean, I don't know anything about coding. I don't know anything about Firefox. I'm just using a browser. I barely know what a browser is. I'm connecting to some site, to some secure site, doing some transaction that must be kept private. Could that vulnerability, for example, make these data available to someone else, like bank account numbers, bank account passwords, or stuff like that?
Yep, they could be surreptitiously extracted from your computer as you type them, and then sent somewhere else, and you wouldn't even realize it.
Okay.
So
it's something to be taken seriously for anyone who's using Firefox as a browser, then.
Yes.
So it means that in some way, like for example, banks, e-commerce sites, and everything that is containing personal data, they should not allow, for example, to have like banners, adverts, and so on their site or on that particular page.
Well, there are, for example, sister companies that you use for generating revenues, but the content of those advertisement partners aren't under the control of those building those e-commerce websites.
So it's again in the side of developers of a website, whichever it is.
Yep.
For certain page, they should not code with their feet.
uh, let's say that they
I
should
guess
be more.
the poor developer here. I mean, maybe he's under a contract where he has to do a site which has some type of I would say presentation that is not necessarily his say there. I guess you have marketing departments and stuff like that who normally dictate these issues. It's my view, but what I think must be clearly stated there is one thing that comes to my mind. Is there somewhere in Mauritius where I can find a site where you have vulnerabilities of all kinds that can be posted to the public? Or am I saying something stupid there?
As far as I know, there are no websites operating in Mauritius that have this kind of information. As far as I know.
If we want to be part of the digital revolution, which is something past anyway, shouldn't we, start to take care of our own way of looking at the connected world? I don't know. I'm just putting things out there, thinking out loud.
You're right to speak out loud. I'm just thinking about what you said. Developers, they are forced to do what the marketing department tells them. And of course, the manager or the director will say, yes, of course, we have to put adverts and so on to get revenue. But then there might be some kind of directives we can set up. Not we, I mean, I'm saying we, but it should be all around. But if you have a page where you enter your personal details, just get rid of Google Ads or whatever.
Now, my next question to you, Logan, would be: okay, we have these vulnerabilities that have been identified. How do we fix the problem? Is there a way to fix the problem, or do we have to switch to another browser completely?
All web browsers have different security histories. Firefox, like Chrome and Internet Explorer, has its own set of vulnerability history. I'm not sure that switching to another browser is the right solution. For example, someone could say, then I could switch back to Internet Explorer. However, when you switch back, I think from an open source browser to a closed source one, there's there are less people looking at the source code to spot potential vulnerabilities. For example, in the case of Internet Explorer, it's only Microsoft and maybe a few select partners. Like in the case of Firefox, it's HP, it's all those security companies that can just look into the source code and try to spot security issues there. So it's the same case with Chrome, for example. I think one of the questions I was thinking more of was, okay, we have this vulnerability in that specific version of Firefox or in those older releases, and in the latest release it's fixed. Until we update like 250 workstation to the latest version of Firefox, what can we do, for example? So one of the things I'm thinking of was, for example, having something that looks at the websites that people visit and try to spot potentially harmful JavaScripts, because generally what happens is that the proof of concept code is already available, so you have attacks that are currently happening right now because it's a lucrative market there. Because there's so many people
share. We can take advantage of that lucrative part that you're talking about.
So while someone managing a workstation in a company goes around and updates all of those software, or uses a centralized management software that can update Firefox on all of those machines. So
one stupid question, Logan.
Yes.
Your browser, doesn't it update automatically when it connects to the internet?
I'm on Ubuntu. I currently have an option. Software updater says there's a security update for Firefox web browser.
No,
so,
you're using but the browser itself. Forget about the OS.
Yeah.
The browser itself. I mean Firefox. Isn't it supposed to do an automatic update if you have that set up?
Yep, it queries you. It says there's a later version of Firefox currently available.
Yeah.
But for example, most people
click yes.
No, most people don't bother.
They want to pay.
It also depends on the bandwidth we have in Mauritius, which is another problem. I mean, if I'm in the US or in Sweden or whatever, I would click yes. But in Mauritius, when it says you have 30 megabytes to download, I'd say, oh, fuck, I need to SSH to one machine, I need to work. So let it be for later.
Now, then the issue would be, I mean, if bandwidth
in Mauritius.
If bandwidth is an issue, let's forget about the bandwidth issue. I mean, that's another debate. But isn't there a way to centralize that at the enterprise level in terms of before the browser goes online, some sort of gateway in the enterprise would do that for every users in the enterprise. Let's say the gateway would let's put it this way: some sort of proxy would check the vulnerabilities, update it, and download the updates, and then as soon as any clients connects, they would do the update locally.
Yep, that's definitely a way to get past the bandwidth problem in Mauritius.
You got a business model there, my friend. Thank you.
Yep, that's in fact when I first started working in the IT industry back in 2007. That was schemes that we were thinking of, like to instead of having multiple people downloading the same copy of the same software or the same update each time, we would just have an open source software package like Squid caching those updates on its hard disk and then providing them out on the local area network to the clients, so that it doesn't choke the internet bandwidth.
So there are solutions there.
Yeah, there are solutions.
Sure. Or, for example, in a Windows-based network, where you have all your users using Windows, you have WSUS, which will download all the packages needed. So if one traffic is low and local area network will be used. But this is for enterprise. And browsers, it's more like we have more browsers in the open, I mean individuals, tablets, stations, and so on, or even phones. I don't know if someone uses Firefox on this phone, but could be.
No idea.
No,
I have no idea.
I think one of the things that I was thinking about
But
when
then,
building, yes, go
yeah,
on.
one question again, quick question. Is there a way? I know I tried, but I'm putting the question back again to have some kind of repository in Mauritius, be it for Windows, for Ubuntu, for whatever you want. Have like any one of the ISPs think about it to have. I know when I download NVIDIA drivers for Linux, it's very fast because it's proxied somewhere. But anything else, it's not proxied.
Well, some big sites have their own have their own. I would say, well, I wouldn't call it proxy, but I would call it
CDN.
some alternative sites that we keep the terms very non-technical here. Locally, with either Mauritius, specifically Mauritius Telecoms, I mean, or until I don't know, the two main bodies here. But when it comes to other little ISPs, I doubt. But again, we come back to one simple thing, guys. Sorry to say that. I'm going to be the bad boy here. When we talk about the internet in Mauritius, after more than 15 years that I unfortunately have tried here to do things, we're still to the same point. We look at the internet as something where Mauritius, through an ISP, is connected to the rest of the world. We forget what the internet was made for, and we don't even have a network here. So if someday I go out and cut all these lines that connect these ISPs to the rest of the world, we don't have internet in Mauritius. So, sorry.
Totally true. The first thing we have to share amongst ourselves within Mauritius. But even then, are we able to do it? I mean,
We
I could
should.
I could set a server with like 3-4 terabytes somewhere in a data center locally, but my contents won't be interesting for a lot of people because I will be hosting like repositories for Linux,
Mm-hmm.
an example, and people looking for service pack of Windows, they won't get it from me.
We could start somewhere. I mean, if you're hosting a repository for Linux, that would interest me for one. But why? What? I mean, the concept of peering in Mauritius is totally out of the mind of anyone here who thinks he knows anything about the internet. I mean, this is ridiculous. I'm going to be mean and very bad about that. But unfortunately, it's the truth. I mean, we still think in our own little box here. I mean, I'm an ISP. I'm doing this. I'm connecting that. I'm giving you the best lines. I'm giving you the best bandwidth. I mean, bullshit. Sorry for my French. It's just the internet is not. It's not this. The internet. It was never meant to be like this. And I'm pretty sure I've earned the right to be able to say that. From my background.
You're right. You're right, Patrick. I agree.
But I think when I mean we, I'm sorry to say that you guys specifically were trying real hard out there to bring the truth to the internet world. I mean, you should continue pushing. I mean, guys. I mean, it's you are the younger generation. I mean, it's up to you guys to push to make people understand that this is not the way of doing things. It's not going to be an easy job, but keep
I,
trying.
I think
Oh,
what
I'm not in the younger generation. I tried, but after being kicked out with any government we have had within the past 20 years, I've been in the IT industry. You talk to anyone, we have decision makers who don't even know what they are managing.
Yeah, yeah, it's a tough job. That's why I say, look, keep it up, continue. I mean, but what I would love to see, before kicking the bucket, would be uh, get more and more young people interested into this. I mean, there's not enough to my point of view. Mm, What about the younger generation in terms of those who are still in school, in high school? I mean, what's happening to them?
Yeah. I think personally,
I
like
hope you're not talking about the Facebook generation.
You're right, Ronnie. I mean, you I didn't want to say that, but you said it. Okay, well, you're right. You're absolutely right.
I think in the case of vulnerabilities like Firefox that are recently disclosed um, that can have a huge impact on a business. One of the ways I think administrators and head of ITs can convince bosses to invest in a better to invest resources uh, in internal networks, like securing the endpoint. Is like um, if we don't do that, here's what's going to happen. Okay, the developers are connecting to the internet. They are using they have accounts for logging to remote servers for deploying code. Okay, so if through Firefox someone is able to take control of their PC and look into those password files and copy them without the developer knowing, then you have a huge problem ahead because someone elsewhere can take those credentials, log in onto your company's website, which are generating revenue from you, inject malicious code. Hmm? And then when the customers who are browsing those websites, maybe Avast flags it as there's something really wrong going on with our website, then you lose customer goodwill because the customers are like, wait a sec, this website has security problems and they're not doing anything about it.
You
So,
just you just triggered something in my mind right now, Logan. I work with Bitbucket, GitHub, and so on, with the developers putting their codes there, which is outsourced, of course. And then we will build a release. I mean, with this vulnerability, if you get my credentials, you will be able to push some codes into the code repo.
yep.
Not talking about already built repos, but
Mhm.
code, which means what I am willingly going to do a release with malicious codes inserted without my knowledge.
Correct.
So it's not the fault of the repos. It's not the fault of Bitbucket or GitHub or whatever.
But
So
guys, I think the other main thing also, Logan, is that you talk about vulnerabilities. As long as there hasn't been any cases reported where this has happened, I don't think this will really trigger any, uh, I would say, notable actions from the enterprise world there. I mean, they're going to say they will mitigate it, or the enterprise already has internal security, um, I would say, procedures in place. They are already being audited by some sort of firm who present themselves as experts in security. There's a lot of experts out there, Logan. I mean, mind you, I face a lot of experts in front of me every day, and there's nothing is going to ever happen. I mean, unless someone brings down something, or gets into an enterprise data, like some guys from the far east there gets into someone's account there and empties it out, then you're going to say, oh, it's going to be on every newspaper in Mauritius. It's going to be on on everyone's bulletin boards or whatever you want to call it, or email, mass mailing there, and they're going to say they will take action now and they will react and we will do all these things, but it's going to be always after the event.
I think unless we start seeing customers leaving their website and it's affecting the company's bottom line, then.
But what I was going to say, it's unless you have this, no one's going to do anything. But it's your job. It's good for you to have highlighted these vulnerabilities, but I don't think it's gonna. It's just a matter of people who are interested into these things that are going to be concerned about it.
Yeah, totally true, Patrick. It's a wait and see world.
Yeah.
I mean, unless there's an accident somewhere, or a plane crash, it's only then they detect if there was a default in the plane design, or like Concorde, or even in Mauritius, this roundabout was wrongly made. It's only after the accident that people begin to react. It's really a wait and see.
Yeah.
There's no proactiveness.
Proactivity is a word that has been,
Proactivity.
set aside a long time ago.
Yeah.
In another galaxy.
I mean, being proactive costs money, and there's no revenue from it.
Yeah, well.
It's only when we lose something, then, it's your fault. You should have been proactive and updated all the Firefox or whatever.
But Logan, another stupid question from me. I'm very stupid anyway. You highlighted Firefox as having those vulnerabilities, which sounds very serious. What about the other browsers?
Maybe we should do another podcast about the other browsers. So
no, but I mean, are there? I don't want to get into the details, but do you think there are similar or equivalent vulnerabilities out there in other browsers or other applications, client-side applications that go out on the net there and connect to whatever network that they want to.
Yep. For example, in Android, recently there was the stage fright vulnerability that we even made a podcast out of it, and it was like really dangerous thing because someone could just send a huge number of MMS or put an MP4 file on a website, and he could potentially take control of your Android phone remotely. Just
Good.
Yeah.
I do that for my wife.
That's nice spying.
I'm just kidding. I mean, no. Maybe you should do a sequel for this one with vulnerabilities at another level. I mean, we all use. I mean, you were talking about the Facebook generations. We all use some sort of a client to connect to a type of network, whether it is a social network or work-related type network. Maybe there are other significantly threatening vulnerabilities out there that need to be highlighted. At least you've done the job of highlighting it.
Yep. Because I was surprised that so few people were aware of stage fright in Mauritius. Yep. Go on.
It's okay. We are talking. We are 3 persons, and it's of course been broadcasted. But do you think, like, say for example, my son, the virtual one, who is like 16, 17 years old, would he be even concerned or even give a 1 second thought about, okay, my browser is leaking out? He won't give a shit. So talks like this should be made public, but then how to do it when the journalist, the media, I mean, they don't even care. It's only if we hack their system, then they will care.
Yes, that's correct. I think that's it for today.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what I wanted to add last thing, it's a good thing that we were not too much technical. I
Yep.
really like that we raised ideas that are concerning all of us, rather than being technical and just Linux user group and coding and whatever. And I think we should continue like this. And,
I agree.
if
Agreed.
we have to do technical presentations, that technical meetings, better set it directly. This is technical. So if we are not within the subject, I mean, I'm not a coder. I'm not a security expert or whatever. But to me, when you talk about security of I don't want my bank account number, my bank account login, and so on to be in the outside.
Mhm.
It's better like this to have this kind of talks.
Yep.
So thank you a lot, Patrick.
Oh, you're
And before
welcome.
we go, we just tell our viewers to please make sure to update to the latest version of Firefox. And I think it's
We'll do
41
that.
release. In fact, I need to update my version of Firefox right now on my Ubuntu laptop.
I've stopped using Firefox. I'm using Nightly now.
Right.
Nightly, you know, Nightly is the new 64-bit browser from Firefox.
Okay.
So you just go for that one. You have less vulnerabilities there.
Put a link, Patrick.
Yeah, well.
Okay, I can add it as an annotation in the video.
Patrick,
Okay. Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
stop spying on your wife.
We'll do that. We'll do that. Okay, guys. Thanks, and have a nice Sunday.
Have a
Bye-bye.
nice Sunday too. Bye bye.
Cheers. Bye bye.